Hey everyone, welcome back. I am here with the December cards, tags, and more kit. There is this explosion box from Die Cuts with a View in it. Just gonna kind of pop it open real quick. If I can get a hold of it, there we go. Their explosion box, kind of double paneled there. Open it up some more, and there's more panels inside. And then at the bottom, so there's basically 3 layers for each side of this hexagon. A little wreath, some candy cane Tres Jolie chipboard, these gorgeous Prima flowers, which I'm pretty sure will be getting put on this box, and Graphic 45 Christmas time chipboard pieces, and the 8x8 pad. So I'm really looking forward to decorating this box as my first project. Just going to start playing around with my papers, kind of picking out which ones I want to use together, and then just kind of go from there and get all of my pieces cut up. I'll either cut it by hand or make just a quick little hexagon cut file for my lid. And on my flaps, I'll do the same thing. Just make just a little slightly smaller, about 1/8 of an inch all the way around in for all of these. These ones, the inside ones, I might make full size. It's just going to kind of see. Oh, and I will also be cutting out a hexagon sheet, or a hexagon piece from one of the sheets for the bottom of the box. I did not make cut files. I actually think that this was better by hand, just to make sure that it was exactly how I wanted it to fit. Trying to move that a little out of the way real quick. I have the majority of my pieces cut, and I'm going to kind of talk about how I did my sizing for my lid, which is this piece here. Even though Graphic 45 paper, and especially this heavy of a print, it's very hard to see through, but I held it up to my light so I could position the lid where I wanted this big clock here to be. And that's the main reason I didn't make a cut files, because I wanted to be able to line up the graphics exactly how I wanted. So I took my sheet of paper and I held it up to my light, and I held it in place, and then very carefully set it down. And I actually used a black Sharpie to make sure I could see the lines, because I didn't want to have to try to redraw them if I got them, or if they didn't get dark enough for me to see well, because I'm cutting right along the lines, or a little inside them. And also, this is a black lid, so if anything got on here, it would just blend in. So that's how I did that lid. I have these right here from this paper. It was the strip in between these sections. And I took 2 of them, and I've cut them down to 3 1/8 this way, and then I'm going to cut them here, and I'm going to stagger them along the edges of the lid. So there'll be 3 that are in the red and then 3 green. Okay. Next thing, for my bottom piece, I cut along here. Let me see if I can find a whole piece in here still. This might be one. No, okay. It's this piece. I cut this edge, just this side of that green line, and very slowly worked in my edges. I used my paper cutter to make sure they were nice and straight, and I just worked a little bit at a time so that I could keep it lined up, and then I would come back and I would mark where the bins were and just work my way in, and then made sure that my pieces all still folded over. So there's that. These and these are parts of the pieces that are going to be on the flaps. I haven't quite cut them all out yet, but I am getting close. Let me bring this back real quick. For these flaps, this first layer is going to be the same size as the box, which is, I'm cutting them at 3 1/8, so there's just going to be a little bit of a white border. These flaps are I am going to cut at 3 inches square. I think that's what I said. I have it, yes, at 3 inches square on these, and I am making one for each side. So let's kind of get these all out of the way real quick. So I can talk about the box. I have 3 1/8 inch squares, and they're different. I want everything kind of be different, kind of patchwork looking for the outside. And then for these insides, that's what these are. I cut some of these checkerboards. They're 3 3/8 or 3 1/8 inch across, like so, and I am going to put them at the top, and then I am going to take these papers, which are 3 5/8 inch across and scored at a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch from this edge, which makes them 3 1/8, so they will match up on those, and it will be like so. And I want to kind of trim them a little bit. I'm just gonna cut in on the folds, little angles, so that those corners don't stick up. So be like that. And I am going to use a circle punch. There we go. I have a 2.5 inch circle punch. So on the back sides that I want, I'm just going to start with one. If I have it center, or I'm going to put it in the corner because I want to mark a center line. You know, I will just use this real quick. So if I have 3 1/8, it's 1.5, about there. Oh. And so this is my center line on here is just over the 1.5 inch mark, so 1 9/16. And I put 2 little marks on each side so I can just grab up my ruler wherever I set that down at. I'll use this one. It's a good thing I have multiple rulers. I'm always losing them. Alrighty. Just so I can go like this, and you'll see there we go. Just gonna go like that, real light, so that I can see the center. So I'm going to take this off so it's easier to see through. There we go. And for this first one, I'm just going to kind of eyeball how far down I want this. Let's see here. See how it looks? So about about 5/8, give or take. It's about a 5/8 inch depth there. But now that I have one done, I will be able to just I will be able to use it as my template. So I can line everything else up like so. And then I can just get it in there. And punch that out. And just like that. So once I get all of those done, I am now going to start adhering everything. And I'm going to work in layers. I will do this outside, and I will do my lid top. And then I will come in here, and I'm going to add my checkerboard pieces to the tops, and then I will let those dry, and then come back and add my little pockets, just so that things don't get too wet. So like I can do my checkerboards, and I'll do one layer here and one layer here, and then come back and do the opposite sides. I don't want it getting too wet from the mediums. I'll probably use some of this distress collage medium that came in September's mixed media kit, and just start brushing it on to the parts that are being attached, and then laying it down in place and using something, anything. I'm going to use my bone folder to just make sure it's pushed down really good. And there you have it, my first piece done. If your edges are large or stick over more than you want, you can either curl them down. I did cut mine a little large just to give myself a little extra working room. Or you can trim them before everything's all the way dry if you need to. Like this, just working slow and carefully all the way around. And I think those were really the only ones. Yep. And then I'm just coming back through, making sure everything is stuck down how I want it on this lid. And then I'm going to come back, flip this over, and start adding in or adding on my outer panels. That's all there really is to it. So I'm going to go finish gluing on all of my pieces, gluing on my inside flaps, and then coming back to kind of talk about the next step. Okay, I have my papers all glued on. My lid, I have that strip alternating around the edge of the lid. I have my base put on. Here I have all of my flaps covered. And I have most of my pockets on. I was just going to show this one pocket and stick something to hold those for me real quick. So I have my pockets, which I already talked about, and I just added, this is 1/8 inch double-sided tape. You can just use whatever glue you've been using. I just like to add a little extra on pockets. And instead of a collage, the collage medium, I'm using a quick dry glue. So I kind of wanted to talk about that real quick. The reason why I was using collage mediums or any kind of gel medium, Mod Podge, something like that, is because it gives me a little bit of work time. I can make sure the pieces slide into place. Like when I put the bottom on, I was able to not push it down and fold over all of those inside pieces to make sure that it was where I wanted it. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope so. Whereas a quick dry glue, well, you don't get near as much time to make sure your paper is where you want it. So I just put a couple little strips on there. Make sure it's pushed down, peel it off, or peel the backing off. And then around the edges, the fold here, that edge, I just put a thin line, kind of a little bit right there along the glue or the double-sided tape, and then a real thin line on this very bottom here for the bottom of the pocket. Get it ready to go in. Get it in place on one side so I can kind of, I don't push it down hard yet, just sort of get those edges tucked under so I can kind of eyeball center it and make sure that it's relatively straight. And now I really push it down once it's in place and clean up any glue that might squeeze out. And there we have it. I have all of my papers in place on this explosion box. Now it's just all ready to be filled with pictures. You could put a little mini album in here, a gift, make it a whole big gift. And now just a few extra bits that I'm going to add. I'm going to add just a few of these chipboard pieces on some of these pages. Now you might have those little pokies sticking out there. It almost stayed in focus. Those little pokies there. You can use sanding block. An emery board will work. Even your regular nail file. And they just come off real easy. Just a couple gentle swipes along that edge there to get those little bumps down. Now all of these have holes on them, but I don't really want to put brads or anything through. So I'm just going to glue them down, a little bit of extra decoration. But I think I'm kind of going to glue them down only where the brad would go, just so they can sort of be little tuck spots. Now if you wanted to, you could use some stickles or the like beads in a bottle type stuff
I don't think I have one. Liquid pearls, that's what I was trying to think of. Liquid pearls, the crystal drops. If you have anything like that. Or you could just glue some rhinestones on. But I think for right now, I'm just going to leave mine how it is. You could put some flat back pearls in there if you wanted to. But these already fit so close. I don't want it to get too lumpy. So this part is done, and I'm just going to set it off real quick. Well, that glue sets up. And do my lid. I am using this chipboard frame here, and I am going to use just the single largest flower of that 3-pack. I thought about using all 3, but it was just too much, and I really kind of like how this came out looking with just the 1 flower on there. So, get my little rough edges down. And I lined it up. Put the chipboard about here. Because I aimed my 2 leaves to kind of go around that Christmas time. Where it says the Christmas time. So like that along the clock. So for this, I can just use, I'm going to use this medium again. It's on the top, so this will give a little bit extra hold, I guess. And I'm just going to put it on there. Kind of just use the tip to spread it around. And I'm using the lines on my mat just so I know the lid's straight to help me kind of eyeball this into place. So I have that. And I'm just going to glue my flower down. Like so. And there you have it. This box is done. You can always add more if you wanted to. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more. So we're going to put it all together and show what it looks like all closed up. Just as soon as I get this under control over here. I could probably put it upside down to do this easier, but well, I did just glue that flower on. So, thank you for joining us here at Tres Jolie. I hope that you enjoyed this project and it gave you some ideas of what can be done with the items that are in this month's Cards, Tags, and More kit. There we go. Finally did it. I have a festive little explosion box here. I actually was thinking about this last night. You could put candy in it. So when they pop off the lid, candy goes everywhere. That might have just been my hunger talking. So thank you for joining us here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channels and turn on notifications so you can always know when new videos are posted, when the reveal video at the beginning of the month is posted. And I will see you next week.